All right, what is up, guys? I know it's been a while since we did one of these. I'm going to go over some monetary debasement talk. We're going to talk about how the rotation for gold and silver is coming, even though there's a lot of people on X saying it's not. They're just doing that for clicks. Also, we're going to talk about things like how to use the short-term signals in the group if you're interested in that sort of thing. But we'll also talk about some macro things with the DXY, things like that. So let's just jump right into it. I just quickly want to cover what happened historically and how super cycles work. So, of course, you know that there was a time when, uh, I tend to talk about the US dollar just because, that was or has been the world currency for a long time. Everybody's been involved in it. So, what happens over time is it starts being a value of 1 to 1 with silver, gold, whatever, something tangible that the public can get behind, that they have full faith in because they know something that has real value is backing that dollar or that coin, whatever it is. So way back in the Roman times, we can see here that there was a point where there was as much as 97% silver. I don't think you can see that, but there's a tiny 97 there. And then over time, it went all the way down to 3% silver. So you can see that it's the same trajectory that the dollar's been taking, right? If we look up, what was it? Dollar debasement. Let me see if I can actually find a image of that. Yeah, here it is. So really the same thing, it just went down over time. So what I wanted to get at with that is that, even though this comes down like this, and I don't know that, the US as an entity is going to survive. Sometimes it just collapses and some other country takes over or some new country pops up. I mean, there's a chance that some of the the bigger states or regions that have their own infrastructure that they don't need the government for could form some kind of new territory. So all of that's on the table. Stuff like that can happen. And by the way, those of you that aren't really interested in this and want to just look at how to do short-term plays, that sort of thing, you can jump ahead. I'll do some timestamps below in the video to where you can jump ahead. But what I was going to talk about is, I don't remember what the date was exactly. I think it was 1974 or something like that. They took us off the dollar standard or the gold standard, sorry. And what you have is this pie. This pie starts out at 100%. It's backed by a certain portion of silver, gold, whatever. And in the future, it may be backed by oil. There could be something else. But as time goes along, you start seeing that, quietly, a portion of this pie gets taken away. So now, the dollar may only be backed by like 75% gold. And then it gets lower and lower until there's barely any of the pie left. I mean, who knows what we're at now? I don't even know. We could be at 1% backing. But when something like this happens, then eventually, everything kind of falls apart. They've been trying to pump as much free printed money as they can into the system, almost looking like they want to bring it down, and maybe they do. So, that's what when they talk about New World Order, things like that. It's some kind of new entity that's going to come in. Maybe it's even Japan or somebody that's going to be, or China. Maybe the yen, or what's the China one? Yuan. Maybe one of those ends up being the new world currency. I've seen some other things where people talk about it's going to be more balanced, where the West, the South. I'm talking like the West, like the U.S., Canada, that sort of thing. Maybe South America, and the East. Maybe they're all struggling for power. Trying to get that power, and it just kind of ends up being a balance. So right now we're not seeing as many open wars, right? We're seeing a lot of infighting between these groups, and it's on smaller scale. So that's what you're seeing in the news a lot. Everybody's kind of vying for power right now. But I don't think, there may not be a huge superpower in the future again, but you have heard talk about how Trump may be the last president. And that's probably going to be true. And the reason why they're saying things like that's not because he's going to be a dictator. It's because the dollar's going away completely. And so if we put that in Bitcoin terms, let me find my Bitcoin chart. I don't think I have one here. Let's just bring up Bitcoin. And actually, I think I'm going to compare it to, let's see if we can put it, I need to turn all this off first. I think we'll just put it up against DXY, because I saw something that Rab had posted today right here, if you want to read it. I'll get to this in a minute. Nero keeps posting really good plays here in the Degen chat. He's got one that's a 23x today alone. Where was that at? I think it was in the VIP lounge. So Rab had posted something here. Yeah, here it is right here. And I think this was from Henrik. What's his name? Henrik something. I don't remember what his name, well, whatever his last name is, Zberg, whatever. He's got a thing here showing he believes that the DXY is in a channel. And then once this next pump happens, then Bitcoin pumps with it. And then it rolls over finally and, really has its final capitulation for DXY. So, I mean, that could happen in, who knows, 2027, 2028. What is he? I don't really think he's talking about the actual timing here, but let me just see what he has here. Oh, yeah, actually he does. So he says the big DXY bear market would happen in 2026, 2030. I mean, we don't know that. He doesn't know that. But there are times, I mean, you may be worried about, oh, well, if, DXY goes up, doesn't that mean Bitcoin goes down? Not necessarily. I mean, there's been plenty of times where Bitcoin's actually gone up during that same period. And he actually shows it here. So here's DXY going up, Bitcoin up, DXY up, Bitcoin up. Here's some other times here. I mean, this was a really big move. What was this, 2019? Yeah, some people are comparing what we're going through now to 2019. So, maybe we'll have a pretty good move out of this. But that's what we're looking for. It makes a lot of sense for DXY to have a bounce here. And I've seen some people calling for it. So if we look at that on the chart right here, and then we bring up DXY as well. I guess I want to do it this way. All right, there we go. So let's look at it on a weekly and just see what got some old drawings here that show up sometimes. Anyway, we'll just see what it looks like here, DXY versus Bitcoin. And now that I think about it, I think I do have a DXY. Let me just check something here real quick. I've got an old chart. I just want to see what it looks like. Oh, yeah. I mean, I actually predicted what it was going to do. Not that it really helped with Bitcoin, but I mean, what I was doing was saying, okay, what if this back here ends up doing something like this? So the reason why I'm bringing this up right now is if I felt in the past, which I probably drew this, I drew it sometime in 2024, I guess, but if I believe that this was going to happen and drop after that, on this date right here, which it pretty much did, then that means DXY is coming back up. And so what happened here, this was 2018. Let's just bring up, okay, so down here's the Bitcoin liquid index. Let me just line these up here for you. So we're looking for, actually looking for the bottom here, maybe the first candle. So that would have been April 2018. That would actually have been way back here, wouldn't it? So DXY did start going up initially. The bottom was found February 19th. Yeah. So, DXY kind of went sideways, but it was really still going up at this time. Oh, I can just use this line down here, can I? So that's pretty well lined up there. So here's where we're at. The bottom of DXY starts moving back up. It has a final little capitulation of Bitcoin. And then as DXY is going up and to the side, Bitcoin has a really big pump, and then it goes sideways for a bit. And then when DXY finally capitulates at the end there, that's when Bitcoin has another big move. So here's the 2019 move. Here's the roughly 2021 move. But it was up all the way from February 2019. So let's just assume that it looks like this again. this would kind of line up with, and I'm not saying it's going to have a huge dump like this, but this would kind of line up with what Tatiana was talking about, where we could see something in the 60s on Bitcoin first, but after that happens, then things really move up a lot. But yeah, I mean, I think because of this drawing that I did before, and really I was just mimicking what was happening back here, but since this happened almost identical, then I would suspect, yeah, this is probably the bottom for DXY for now. And that's good for us. I mean, we do need to see it move back up. So if we look at, I don't know if gold's really going to show us the same thing, but I mean, we can look at something like gold. And when these big pumps happen, I think I illustrated this before in the past, but let me see, is this thing going to line up for us? I've got 1 month, 1 month. Oh, that's why, because this is such a bigger chart. Okay, let's just look at this one. I'm just watching this cursor up here to see what it's doing. So if we go all the way back to here, just see what gold was doing during that same time. So we were talking about April back here, right? Which is right here, April 2018. So gold actually, it had been moving up for a while, but not a huge pump. Really, one of the huge pumps happened right here, and then it consolidated sideways. So once that pump happened, look what happened to Bitcoin. It was right there. And then as this was going down, Bitcoin was coming up. And then, well, these kind of went down together, so that doesn't really work. But now what you have is gold and Bitcoin went up at the same time. So I think these were kind of in line right there. Yeah, so Bitcoin and gold have been pretty much mimicking one another, although, you know, alts, of course, haven't made much of a move yet. So if we look at alts and just see if we can see anything similar, I guess we could look at others. Yeah, that'd be fine. So what happened here with the alts during the 2018 thing? Let's see. Okay, so there's April. Oh, there's April. Yeah, so gold went down with alts right here. And then once it was February 2019, gold went up. And then it went sideways. And as that sideways move happened, you know, so here's our pump, here's our pump. Now we're just waiting on the sideways move. Once that happens, then that created that 2021 big pump for the alts. But since then, I mean, look at that. Gold's been in control, and Bitcoin was as well. So we've just got sideways movement. And what happens when you've got sideways movement? Look how similar this looks. You got a bull there, and now you're just going sideways for a while. So what do you think is going to happen? At some point, alts are going to take off. I mean, they just have to. So, you know, this is an undervalued asset, alts in general, and we're just waiting on this next pump to happen. But, you know, yeah, it's taken a long time. But I mean, imagine the pump that comes out of this thing. What if it's something like this? That'd be great. It's kind of what we're expecting. And even if you step back further and you say this, and this is just sideways for a long time, whoops. And it's just sideways for a long time. So that's this plus this. I mean, it definitely looks similar. And these, I mean, these things play out over and over. You've seen it. It's just a matter of patience, right? We can go back and back test all this and say, yeah, silver looked like this, gold looked like this. You know, look how long silver and gold take to make their move. You know, they always do some kind of course, they were more volatile back here, but they always do some kind of, I don't even know where I want to go with this. I don't know. I guess this is a pretty good example here, although it did have one more dip before it moved back up. But eventually it does happen. I mean, you could see something out of alts like that still, although we know they're very oversold at this point. But, you know, what if it came back down here and retested this area here at 77 billion? For, what is this one total? This is total 3 or, oh, it's others. That's what it is. Okay. Yeah, so you could still find some support down here. You know, maybe it's not done, but I mean, it's worth the wait, right? It's worth the wait for this big move. And what else are we going to do? I mean, we're at the mercy of all this money printing. We've got inflation, although, you know, inflation has come down a little bit, but we have no choice but to be invested. So the risk is worth it. It's going to pay off. We just have to wait. You know, hopefully it happens this year at some point. I'm thinking we start to see some kind of move back up in March, maybe after the next Fed meeting. So that's the macro view. And I know Tatiana is going to give you another view. She's planning on doing one today, I believe, but she hasn't been feeling too well. So maybe she'll be able to get it out. I don't know. So let me jump over to the short-term plays real quick, because I know some of you probably want something to do while you're waiting on this. I'm going to start with things that are more, they're a little bit more solid, a little bit more stable versus the Degen plays. So what you're looking at here on the volume alert, it's called volume alerts and listings. The way I've set this up is this will alert you anytime there's a significant price movement, percentage based, for any token that's on Binance Futures. And the reason I'm choosing Binance Futures specifically is because it has a lot of tokens, it's constantly adding new tokens, and it it tends to give the best opportunity. Although you have to be careful, you can't just blindly enter just because you get a signal here. And I'm going to show you that. I'm trying to remember what else I was trying to tell you about that. Well, I guess what I was thinking about, where I lost my train of thought there, was not only are you getting buy signals here, you're also getting sell signals. So I'm going to show you one. It's actually BULLA right here. I'm going to show you one that was a perfect example of this, of playing it both ways if you could. I did adjust the signal a little bit because for some reason it missed this candle body right here. If you looked at this one, here, let me move the signal that we got ended up being right in here somewhere, which was a very good signal. But let's say if you're watching on the 3-hour chart, maybe you don't want to have to watch a very low time frame, like 15-minute. You just want to watch the, I want to change these colors here, hang on. Okay. So the 21 EMA and the 50 EMA are the best ones that you can use on like a 3-hour chart or a daily chart. I think it even works on a 15-minute, but if you're new to this, then just stick to a 3-hour chart or daily. So if we look at this on a 3-hour chart, if this signal had come in here, and I mean, you could have gone ahead and entered, but if you wanted to play it safe, all you had to do, and I actually need to show you how to get this indicator. So just type in Artie, and it's this first one by Phoenix Binary with 12K downloads, or whatever you want to call it, favorites. And then when you bring it up, it's going to look like this. And just forget everything from here down. These candlestick patterns, you don't need that. You really don't even need the trend cloud, but I'll show you how it works. The first thing you want to do, just follow these settings here that I use. Go to exponential here, leave these the same. I don't know why I have these set up this way, but this first one's hidden, this fourth one's hidden. I mean, you can put them anywhere you want here, but the second and third one are set to 21 and 50. And then I've got them set to a width of 3, just so the line's bigger. But if you did the trend cloud, it's just going to show you that it's bullish, and then it's going to show you when it's bearish. You really don't need it, but if you want to play around with that, you can. I hide that one as well. So what you're looking for is if you have a 21 cross above the 50, so this is the fast moving line, this is the slow moving line. So if in this case, mine's yellow, so the 21 is yellow, the 50 is blue, and I have a cross up right there. Now, I didn't know anything about this token because it hadn't shown up for me just yet until this candle happened right here, or it will in the future. That's the way it's set up for now. But when this yellow line, the 21 cross above the 50, that's your signal to go long. Now, what you could do in this case, if you want to play it really safe, is you just wait until price comes back down and you wait on a 3-hour close. And if it touches the 21 or the 50, like it did on both of these, that's when you take a position. And the only way that you sell, the only way that you would decide to get out of this trade and have to take a loss is if you got a 3-hour candle close below the 50, the blue line here. So you had a buy signal. If you wanted to wait, that's fine, or you could have gone ahead and taken a position. If you did take a position here, you wouldn't have gotten out, although this would have been scary to you, because you need a full 3-hour candle to close below the 50. That's your stop loss. And in that case, you would have lost, well, maybe 15 to 20% is what you would have lost. But I mean, you can see these wicks hit both lines here. That would have been a good buy opportunity. Anywhere here would have been a good buy opportunity. Even here, it came all the way back down and wicked one more time down. So you had plenty of time to enter in this case. The signal that we got actually ended up showing up here. In the future, you'll get one earlier. But this one showed up somewhere in this candle. I don't know exactly where. You'd have to go down to a lower time frame to see it. But let's say you saw something like this. This would probably be pretty scary. You probably wouldn't want to enter on a big candle like this. So what could you have done here? Well, you could have been very patient on the 3-hour chart here and just waited for some kind of wick into this first line and then taken a position. And then your stop loss still would have been down here below the 50 line. That's still a little bit risky, but there was nothing saying that this was bearish at the time. It was still bullish. Everything was still moving up. And even in that case, if you would have bought somewhere in here, you still would have made, I don't know, like a 2 to 3x, something like that. Now you may ask, well, how am I going to know when to take profits? Well, it's really up to you. You can take it at 2x, 3x, just get your initial funds out, whatever. But you can also go down to a lower time frame. So if you start to see some weakness, like this was a bearish engulfing candle, and on a 3-hour, if you get a bearish engulfing, it's bigger than the previous candle, and especially if this is a green candle, that's what you really want to be looking for. So if you get a red candle that's bigger than the previous green candle on a 3-hour chart, especially if you get this inverted hammer, that's showing you that price is getting pushed down and there's no more momentum to the upside. So what you could have done is gone down to like a 1 hour, 30 minute, anything like that, maybe even 15 minute if you want to. But you can see right here, you got your signal, the 21 crossed below the 50, and that means that that's a sell signal. Or if you got a 15-minute candle closed below the 50 line here, then you could have taken some profit there or just completely gotten out. But there was plenty of opportunity here to get out. I mean, even on this candle after the cross, you could have gotten out. It looks different on like an hourly. It took longer for this to play out. On this close right here, it closed below the 50. You could have gotten out right there. 3-hour, your signal would have come much later, way down here. So this is really too late. And that's the difficulty in taking profit, is really you have to set these levels that you want to get out at. So say, for example, if you're on the 3-hour chart and you just don't know when to get out, well, if you entered there or if you entered there, then you just take your profit at a 2x or a 3x, or you take your initial investment out at 2x or 3x, and then you're riding free. But if 2x or 3x was your goal, then you just take it all out and you're done with that trade and you move on to the next one. Especially if you feel like things are getting overheated and you see some topping patterns here where it just 2 or 3 candles show up and on the 3-hour chart and they just can't push it any higher. Usually means things are going to roll over. I mean, even here you saw it push higher and higher. This wasn't a bearish engulfing. See, it didn't engulf the whole green candle. So this was not a sell signal. There's no engulfing. I mean, you could call this one maybe an engulfing, but nothing closed below the 21, right? It just wicked down to it. So you have to wait for the candle close. And then you got this big, massive, that's actually a bullish engulfing for this one. So it meant things were going higher. But yeah, this was your signal right here. Watch for these bearish engulfing for profit taking areas and watch for your bullish engulfing. Trying to see if there's one here at the bottom. Yeah, I mean, there'd be one here. There's one here. Notice how they engulf the previous red candle completely. So any of these were buy signals. And then this was your sell signal up here. And you can use this, you can use both of these ways to buy and sell on any time frame. It's going to chop around a lot more if you go under if you go under 3 hours, like a 1 hour, 30 minute, 15 minute, things are going to chop around a whole lot more. I mean, look at this. You can't just use the 21 and 50 here because it closed below it for a little bit. I mean, you could have gotten out right there, but you would have gotten right back in if it closed back above the 2150 or crossed back above right there. So you're going to get a lot of fake outs here with the lower time frames. But what I was going to say is you're able to use these same skills. You're going to get better and better at them. They're going to become like second nature. You'll be able to use these on Degen plays as well, where it makes it a lot easier for you to determine if it's bullish or bearish. But remember, on Degen plays, they're brand new, they just launched, and you're going to get a lot of chop because you have to go down to like a 1 minute or even a 30-second chart in some instances if it just launched. So let's look at one of those. And again, that was volume alerts and listings. These are a little bit more solid plays for short to midterm. You can make some really good money off of these. But again, just, be careful, of course. I mean, there were other ones in January that did really well. Like, what was the other one I was looking at? I don't think I was looking at NOM. I was going to mention NOM to you because this one actually showed up. Where's it at? You can search any of these, by the way, at any time. I usually hit CTRL-F, and then I'll type it in, and then it'll show me how many times NOM has showed up on here. So it had a 100% move recently. Yeah, initially it had that 36% move. Oh, it got listed. Oh, that was last year, never mind. So it got listed on Binance Futures. It will tell you that when something gets listed. And then it did a 36% move on the 24th and then a 100% move on the 25th. So here's what that looks like. Yeah, this is the 3-hour chart. Yeah, here's the 24th. Here's the 25th. So it had a pretty good move, but the earliest you had a signal was 6:47 p.m. Where was that at? Right in there. Yeah, it happened somewhere in this candle right here. So really you didn't get much opportunity to get in this one. At best you would have gotten a 50%. If you take these two candles together, it engulfed this candle. So that was telling you there's a lot of weakness. So it was rolling over. Yeah, I mean, this is back down to support is the reason I wanted to mention this one. So if you end up getting, let me change this up again. I had those on dynamic. Okay. So if you get right now we've got a cross down. So this is saving you from getting into this one, right? This is a bearish signal. So, but if your 21 crosses back above the 50 in the future, so if the yellow crosses back above this blue line, then that means the price is getting bullish again. So you can watch NOM and you can even set an alert on this. If you hit alert, go to condition, click on the Phoenix. I know I called it the Arty earlier, but it's also called the Phoenix. I'm using MA2 and MA3. And I'm gonna select crossing up. Select Phoenix for the second one as well. So MA2 and MA3, the reason why I'm calling it that is this is my moving average 2 and 3 on this. If I was using 1 and 4, I would select 1 and 4. Or if I was using 1 and 2, I'd select 1 and 2. So I've got 2 and 3. And then when you do this alert, it's going to tell you on any 3-hour candle if you have a bullish move. The 21 crossed above. Here's the 21, the MA2, crossing above the 50, the MA3. And you can flip it, crossing down MA2, crossing below MA3, and then that would be your bearish signal. So you can set these alerts up to where you don't have to watch these, manually. And then you'll know when it's time to get back into this one. But if you look at this on a daily chart, it went way down. It's created a double bottom here. It did its first impulsive move, which faked a lot of people out. And now you're back down here to support. And that's really what you want to see. If you go back here to BULLA and look at it on a daily chart, look how it created kind of a double bottom. Well, not a true double bottom. It's actually a lower low. But this ended up being the bottom because these are equal. It did an impulsive move. And then it took, maybe 10 to 12 days. It did another double bottom, if you want to call it that. Did a fake out first, but then it finally crossed back up. Your buy signal didn't show up until it was time for it to move again. This is on a daily chart. if you look at it on a 3-day or a 3-hour, that same impulse back down, double bottom. There was a temporary fake out right here, but it crossed right back down, I think. Did it actually? Yeah, it just temporarily, like maybe one candle, it crossed up, but then it crossed back down. But then the real cross up happened here. So look how you would have gotten in very early on this one had you been watching this one earlier. And NOM is one of those that you can watch now. So what you want to see, of course, is, I don't know if that's the true, you could call this the bottom. I don't know. There's a bottom somewhere in here between these two lines. So maybe it still comes back down to here. You can look at it in your 3-hour chart. Is it going to come down still? Yeah, it could be. Or maybe it just starts basing here and creates a higher low, and then it finally starts turning back up. So this could be one to watch in the future, and I'm actually going to set an alert for it. Again, all you do is go to the Phoenix here. You make sure the Phoenix is on both of these, crossing up. And I think this is going to work, but I'll select MA2, MA3, because that's the ones that I had selected. Again, here's MA1, MA2, MA3, MA4. So just select the one that corresponds with that. And you can put yourself, I wonder why it's going to put a huge message like that. That's crazy. Anyway, I think I'll leave it to where it'll show it in our, like this is set up to show up in our webhook, in our alert channel for Engineering Robo. I could change that, but yeah, I'm just going to take it off. Yeah, because it'll still send to my email. I'll still find it either way. Okay, so that one's created. We'll see if that one alerts us in the future, but you can watch it for yourself as well. That just kind of shows you how to set these up, the ones that haven't moved yet. And there's probably a couple more here. BTR did another move too. I think BTR did like a 3x move. So if we look at this on the 3-hour, our signal came in somewhere here, as things were getting bullish again. Yeah, one of these candles probably. But you can find out for sure. You can either go up here and do pound volume and then click volume alerts and listings, because you just want to search in this channel here, right? Not all channels. Hit BTR and you're going to look for January. So January 25th at 11:12 p.m. my time. Where's 25th? Oh, it actually happened up here. Okay. So this is the daily. I'm just going to make a little line here so I know which one it is. I'm going to go back to the 3-hour. I think I said 11. What did I say again? 11:12 p.m. So that would be at night. No, it's the 24th. Okay. Did it happen? Do I have that right? Okay, 11:12 p.m. on the 25th. Okay, I was looking at the wrong thing. Somewhere in here. Yeah, is either one or either this one or this one. So, BTR could still make more of a move. I mean, yeah, it did come down temporarily here, but it got right back above. So technically you could take a position here, but you have to be really careful because that was a bullish engulfing right there. So yeah, that's actually a show of strength. So there's some kind of support here where people are buying. You could take a position here, but if you got another 3-hour candle close below this blue line, the 50 EMA, as far as exponential moving average, then yeah, I would just go ahead and get out of it if you did get another one. But yeah, this is, it looks like support here possibly. Might have another breakout. I just want to make sure I had that right. Yeah, that was 125. Okay. What did it do on October 20th? Oh, that was way back over here. Okay. Yeah, I'm surprised. I guess it was just doing really small moves. Surprised it didn't give a signal earlier than that. Why didn't these give a signal? 29%. It should have given a signal here. That's weird. Well, I'm going to look into that. I don't know why it didn't give us a signal there, because that would have been much earlier. Maybe I have it set to just above 29%. That must be what it is. So if I had had this set to 29%, we'd have gotten a much earlier signal. I think I did move it down to 22% just to give us earlier ones. So we'll see how that works out in the future. Okay, so final thing. Rod does curated degen calls here. So these are going to be a little bit more safe than a brand new launch. You know, these are still going to be brand new launches, but he's going to show you where the support levels are. Just click through these images that he gives you, and these are a little bit safer. He's done like he did one called Penguin that was like a 30x. You know, not all of his are going to be big moves like that, but he does a lot of like 2x, 3x. So keep an eye on this channel. It's Rodster's Degen Alerts. And then also Nero. These are much more risky plays because they're brand new. He's finding these at like, 200K market cap or something. So you're gonna have to be very careful with these and put a low amount of funds in it. So these I tend to only put like $50, and you may want to put even less. But this is just for fun, really, to see if you can hit a big one like this. I mean, Nero's had like a 200x play before, and we've had some 100x plays with our 1x buy early alpha channel as well, which these will give you plays that have just launched as well. I've talked about how these work before, but basically, if it has a seedling emoji, that means it's a brand new token, brand new launch. If it has a repeat emoji here and the number beside it, that means it's repeated once in here. So that means that more smart money wallets are buying it. So you get an initial group of smart money, or one smart money wallet bought this one. If another one buys it, then it'll look like this. It'll have this parentheses 1 beside it. So it could mean that it's still bullish. But this is just for people that want to get into tokens that are very degen and they're brand new and it's just a lottery ticket. But Nero's pretty good about finding them early, and a lot of his do really well. But some days he has where he has some that don't do hardly anything. So just be aware, you're going to hit some rough patches, but every once in a while you're going to hit a big one like this if you follow what Nero's doing in here. And there's some other people that post here as well. And this thing will post sometimes when there's a big one that hit. He posted this one 7 hours ago. It was showing it gained 11x, but actually it's done 23x now. So all you have to do if you want to post your own in here is take the contract address and paste it in here, and it'll post this thing with some information about the token, and it'll say something like, you're the first to post this one. He posted this one at 40K market cap. So that's what I mean. These are brand new. Some of them haven't even graduated from the the site where they graduate from to move on to the next exchange. Okay, I know this was a lot to go through. I hope that it was informative and useful to you. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to to explain things further. But only do one of these things if you are interested in short to medium term plays. Some of them are safer than others, but you still have to stick to your rules. If you're a positional trader and you just want to hold until the next pump happens, then just keep watching what Tatiana has to say in her alert channel here, her signal channel. She's going to post a new video or something, I believe, today, if she can get around to it. I know she's been sick, but hopefully she'll have that out to you soon. But yeah, y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll talk some more of this next week. Take care.